Good evening, everyone. Wednesday night. That means DFS Down Under Show, presented by Day Fantasy Rankings. Smatho 10 for another big show here on Wednesday night. Round 18 in the AFL. Got lots to get through, and looking quite well tonight. Here is my co-contributor of the DFS Down Under Show at TM Heffernan. Big Hef, how are you tonight, buddy?
I'm good, Smatho. Been wonderful weather down here as always in Hobart. Just defrosted in time for the show tonight, and get stuck into some golf. I'm sure with you working the podcast airwaves once again this week.
Look, I'm looking forward to getting through the content, and big shout out to our bushwalker that we managed to pluck out of the Lake St Clair National Park yesterday out of 5 foot of snow, sitting in the tent for 10 days, losing his pack. So welcome to the show, mate. Good to see you still alive, and hopefully we can entertain you for the next 45 minutes of the show. Before we go on to thumbs up, I just got to do a little side to side, little action there. Brad Crouch, you little beauty, a little head to head last week. It was looking head to head for a while there, Hef, but yes, we managed to get old Crouchy over the line, mate.
He gave you a bit of a scare, didn't he? But you came in very, very confident last week, and you'll prove it right. So well done, Smatho. Is that 1-1?
It's 1-1.
1-1.
It is 1-1.
We've got one later on, do we?
I might have one later on.
Good.
Now, let's go into my favourite part of the show is always Smatho's thumbs up. And this week, we just get straight into my thumbs up. There's guys winning every week on Moneyball now. You know, I've already given them a bit of a shout out, but I like to go here back to Friday night with the big 100K contest. When you get on DraftStars, they give you a little promo, 3 tickets, get you the Saturday, so you chuck in 3 teams. And for our man here, Hawk Magic 17, chucked in 3 entries into a Friday night slate, and Wooshka gets the first place. Bring up the team here, Hef. Let's have a look at this particular side that took out. It was a kind of a low-scoring kind of matchup in the end, but he managed to find the right pieces to get a lovely score of 871.
He's got a nice range there in his 3 teams, doesn't he?
Yeah.
871, 722, and 689. He covered a few bases, and luckily one of those bases came up trumps. I'm not sure there would have been too many of those forward lines. Jared Cameron and Mason Cox.
No,
talk about going contrarian. We did talk about Jared Cameron and his 4-goal 50 effort. Well, there was none of that, was there? He was on fire, Cameron. He's a real find for the Eagles, I think. And then Brody Myercheck. Did you play much Myerchecks, Smello?
No, tilted. Tilted bad when he was on 50 points after the first quarter.
Oh, if you didn't have, you just had to look at his score all night, didn't you, Myercheck? And you just knew that he was going to be the key. He was about 5%, I think. So well done, Hawk Magic.
Look, 10K effort, 3 entries. That's how you do DFS. You just pluck out the little promos out, get your ticket the next day. Then Weshka, 10K, get the emoji up. 2 thumbs up for you, Hawk Magic 17. I hope you use those winnings into good use. There we go, mate. Well done. I love that win. One of my personal favourite thumbs up for the last few weeks. Now, also a personal favourite of ours, Hef, is these qualifiers for the golden ticket. We're at T-minus. Where we are? What's the 17th? Under, 25 days to the event now, and I'm just starting to get a little bit anxious, a little bit excited, looking at the who's who of the qualifiers, and DraftStars just kind of put a bit of a tease out this week, mate.
Oh, right up your alley this week, Smatho.
Yes.
The golf qualifier. You're aware there's a golf qualifier, aren't you?
I am quietly aware of that particular qualifier, the 3-ball. No salary, well, you do have a salary, but you can choose any player that you want. Chuck 3 golfers, $2, in it goes, and you could win an AFL Live ticket for the big qualifier. I actually caught wind of the video that DraftStars put out earlier last week. I think it was last week, with Muggsy and Dipper having a bit of a bant between each other, and obviously Dipper knows his AFL fantasy like the back of his hand, doesn't he, mate?
That was an awesome video, actually. They had Richo was there with his belt. We had a good chat with Muggsy at the live final, or Jason Richardson. We weren't sure who he was, but
no,
it's not the same guy. It's Muggsy. Muggsy's a champion. Looking forward to having a beer with him in a few weeks' time. Jump on and have a look at that video, because that's good fun between those guys, and I'm sure Dipper's going to be a lot of fun.
it looks like a pretty good venue. We might have to bring, being a very large brewery type setup, we might have to keep an eye on the weather in terms of what kind of temperature that particular venue is going to have. So, I might have to rock out the jacket. You never know. So, but a shout out have to one of our qualifiers this week, which is Demi31, who won the Friday night $50 qualifier. He was actually inspired by Muggsy and Dipper having a bit of a bant, so chucked a couple of teams in, and bingo, he's coming to Melbourne from Frankston, but he's coming up for the day on the Sunday. So that means there's not many tickets left, Hef.
No, but there's still a few there. And yeah, like I said, the golf. If you're not quite up with the AFL, you've got that little chance at the golf. Big name Breeze 17 got his ticket Sunday night by a point, so that's good to have him a bit relaxed and join us as over there, because he was hard work for a while, Briz. But now he's there, and come and join Briz.
The big Bristol man, he's invested a lot in the qualifier, so look out for him tilting hard on that Sunday. Now, you mentioned the golf. Let's move on to the British Open, what we call the Open Championship here, for all those golf nuts who play DFS. The Millie Maker is back. DraftKings $3 million contest, $1 million to the eventual winner. We're at Royal Portrush in Northern Ireland for the event. Early tee-off time tomorrow. It's 3:30. It gets underway Thursday, so we can't just rest on the laurels and chuck a couple of teams after dinner tomorrow night. You need to be organised. I reckon you need to get your teams in tonight. But for those kind of little sharps out there, we're keeping an eye on the weather, Hef. And have you checked out the latest Portrush weather forecast yet?
No. I jumped on Bomb today, but I didn't get quite to Northern Ireland. I was more looking a bit closer to home. You've done another podcast for us, Smatho. Have you listened to that one back?
I've listened to little bits and pieces. I just made sure that the clarity was pretty good from possessions kind of end.
Pretty happy with yourself?
I was okay. I was all right.
You did tell me it was by far the best one you've done so far.
The best
you said don't go live with that because it wasn't with Jay, but I'm sure you're talking from a personal perspective. But Procession was on the podcast this week, Smatho.
Yes, he was. He kindly put their hand up with JK unavailable due to travel. So yeah, he did a really great job. We bounced ideas about DraftKings and DraftStar plays. We did talk about the weather in Portrush, how we should check the weather before putting your teams in. It's a bit unpredictable there, but what I'm actually looking forward to and what actually happened today, we put the shout out to Parks 12 to create a 3-ball actual money contest, and he's come through the goods. So we've got a little guy on the side now, Hef. If we want something, we might be able to click our fingers and get Parks to help us out.
There's nothing that man cannot do, Parks. He's just taken over the industry the last few weeks. He's almost at your level, I dare say, Smatho. What is the weather in Northern Ireland? It's usually just cold and wet, isn't it?
Well, it is their summer, so
it doesn't really matter, does it?
But it doesn't matter. But it is bucketing down there today. I've had a quick check, and there's some puddles already on the fairways and that. So she might be a little bit of a wet track on Thursday in one of those races. So
can you give us one? Give us one to throw in our 3-ball qualifiers.
Okay, give us one. Patrick Cantlay is one. Don't think too hard about this. You don't have to scroll down the bottom page and find a hack. You can just go click, 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 bang, $2. Next, bang, 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 $2, and all of a sudden you've got 20 teams. It's probably one of the best ways to get a golden ticket without doing any research at all. Just click 3 guys and in you go. So keep that out in the lobby. $15,000 on DraftStars as well if you're a bit serious and you want to go for that big prize. And then if you're keen as well, DraftKings. There's so many contests on DraftKings. The mini max, the 10 cent, the dimes, the 3,180 Thunderdomes and things like that. So it's all there, but get your prep in pretty quick after the show. Get your teams in and enjoy the Open this week. Primetime golf. And again, just before we move on, Procession, you get a little cheeky, little 2 thumbs up for catching up with me last night.
I think he's already had one before, actually, Procession, hasn't he?
Yes, he has.
Yeah.
Yes. No. You got to keep your friends close, mate, as they say, and your enemies closer. So, all right.
It's our show. Let's move on.
Yes, we go. All right. Let's get your expertise for the AFL's round 18 slate. Friday night 40 starts with Adelaide versus Essendon. Currently got a 14.5 line with 158.5 total. Moneyball put out a $40,000 single slate contest. Draft Stars have gone the huge $100,000 for that $20 entry. In team news, we saw old Hurley did his AC in a sickening shoulder bump, so he's going to be out for the season. Dyson Heppel is still questionable with his foot. Adelaide should be around unchanged after smacking the Crows last week, but we could see Tom Lynch get up, or maybe Ellis Yeoman, but I doubt it with a Friday night game.
I got a little late mail. I'm hearing Luke Brown might be out.
Oh, yes, I think I saw that too.
Yeah, well, not the most relevant guy, but he's been boffing up lately, so there might be a little hold down back there for the Crows.
Fair enough. All right. If you go to our free data tools on the Daily Fantasy Rankings website, you'll be able to access our cheat sheets, including our single game slates for both Moneyball and for Draft Stars. But before you do check those out, you make sure you check out the points against for the sides. We've got our lovely graphs there, and it shows that Adelaide are scoring a lot of points now, and that's been from the massacre up in Gold Coast last week. On the Essendon side, we do have our tag alert. So if you go to the taggers section of the site, you'll be able to see that Dylan Clark has been doing some nice work there on the tag. Latest victim was Ben Cunnington last week. He got tagged out of the game. So what do you think? Also, your initial thoughts here, Hef, of this particular matchup on Friday night?
Let's start with that tagging job there for Dylan Clark. So everyone always goes to Sloane, basically when there's tagging. But you're a real one-eyed Essendon man that I talk to quite frequently. He wants to see him go one of the crouches. He thinks he's better suited on that really inside player, and Sloane, while he's in there, he does sort of get on the outside as well. And Clark's has been best against Paddy Cripps and then Cunnington. So maybe there's a little angle there if he doesn't go to Sloane, because I think most people are gonna predict him to go to Sloane.
Yeah, I do recall that he tried to tag Josh Kelly, but he's not a real inside kind of type of player, so that kind of burned off pretty quick. So
he let him go after the stoppages. I think he didn't even try. A few other thoughts on the game. Hurley's a big loss, but that means there's going to be more ball in the back line for someone to take up the slack, so we'll try and have a look at there. No surprise the Crows flogged the Suns because they love a carcass more than anyone in the comp.
They do.
They're going to be pretty popular to win at home, Adelaide, but I was pretty impressed by Essendon's win last week. I don't think North have been any pushovers at all since the change of coach. So for them to pull it out there and win, I don't think they can be underestimated too much, Essendon. These teams haven't played since round one last year.
Yeah, I know.
A good old draw. And the last two times they played in Adelaide, 2017 and 2016. So the Crows got a hold of them both times, I think. But it's not really that relevant sort of that long ago, I think.
No, well, they had half their side out due to suspension, I think, a couple of years ago. So don't go too much digging in there. So, all right, let's move on to these positions then. The rucks, you've got one of the most exciting ruck prospects in Riley O'Brien going up, one of the most deplorable rucks in Zach Clark, we believe, if he gets another game. But, hey, Clark did pull out a big 86-point performance, and he was the butt minimum on Draft Stars, around over 5K. So surely, though, this is Windscreen's O'Brien's coming out party, on a Friday night, surely.
He was all right, Zach Clark, last week.
He was.
I actually played him a few times and he won me a bit of money. So he's back in my good books after we've sort of just taken the P155 out of him the whole time on the show. On Moneyball, 8,900 for O'Brien and 5,300 for Clark. So you probably want O'Brien to beat him by about 40 points, somewhere around there. Can he do it? Yes. But you could argue that there's more upside in Clark. Like, he kept Goldstein to 88 last week and got 86 himself. If he was to get anywhere near O'Brien's score in this match, then he's obviously the best play. I think the pricing's about right. I'll probably just split them up and play who fits my lineup better and go elsewhere. But I'm definitely not against Zach Clark.
Not against him. Well, he's got forward. He's got forward status for Draft Stars. So would you consider the double rack stack? 6,900.
I would actually. O'Brien. He's a good scorer, O'Brien, but he's not dangerous to go against. So yeah, I think that's definitely in play.
Okay, let's move on to defence, and obviously with no Hurley in the side now, it's going to be a bit hard to distinguish who's going to get the bump for Bombers players. Obviously, Cale Hooker's the obvious candidate, but is there anyone else to look at? Because Crows leak points to opposition backs. Is there anyone we can target?
Well, I'm a bit disappointed because Moneyball's finally woken up that Cale Hooker is playing in the back line, and
Oh, no.
he's no longer got the forward status there. And that was one of my favourite ploys, was to play him forward and then stack the backs with Bombers as well and just have all of them down there.
Mm-hmm.
So now you've got to make a couple of more decisions. I find it really hard to catch the Essendon backs, so this looks like a bit of a range for me as well. Old Sneaky Gleeson, he looked a bit better last week, and 3 games back now, just starting to get the hang of things. 5,600 seems pretty reasonable for him. Redmond's another one that's sort of same price, that they can sort of get their 80 or 90 on a good night, which is the upside you sort of need for a GPP. Sard and McKenna, they're going to be tearing around the place. Yeah, they're very volatile, these backs. They can have you a 40 or they can get you an 80 or a 90. So if you do happen to land on the right ones, then that's good for tournaments because you've got a chance to outscore your salary quite well. But like you said, the numbers say that the Essendon backs are much juicier than Adelaide this week. So I'll have a heavy leaning to Essendon backs, but not really anyone in particular.
Okay. Yeah, the cheat sheets I'm looking at here on the DFR site show that Essendon backs have a bit of value on draft stars, including Gleeson, who's only 7K. We also got Clark, who's also back status. So if you want to put him in the backs, he's 9,640. So not many Adelaide players showing a bit of value for backs. So I think we should target Essendon backs on Friday night. Let's move on to the mids.
Actually, one point that's come to mind, Rory Laird has an unbelievable record against Essendon. So
does he?
Keep that in mind.
Keep that in mind. All right. If you can fit him in, get him in.
He's hard player to fit in, isn't he, when
yes.
all these high-priced mids? But, yeah, it seems like a good matchup for him.
All right, so with Heppel out the side for the mids, we've had bumps for Merritt, Shield, and a bit of Zakaraka's action, but Heppel being questionable for Friday night, would you still look at these Essendon mids, or would you be safe with the high-scoring, consistent Adelaide mids in the Crouch Brothers, Sloane, etc.?
Well, single games are a bit different to when you're sort of looking at these points against and multi-game slates, but in general, I tend to avoid playing mids against Essendon, and I love playing the really good mids against Adelaide because they sort of give them no attention. So if you sort of take that to this game, I love Zach Merritt. I love him. He's 9,600 on Moneyball, which is pretty cheap for a guy of his ability. I don't expect him to get any attention at all, and that's when he thrives. We've talked about Clark going to one of the Adelaide mids. Maybe he goes to Sloane, and it's obvious to everyone but me. But I don't want to put all my eggs in one basket there. I'll play a range of them. Atkins showed last week once again how great a player he is if you play in Adelaide stacks. He had 120 something, and you like to call them skiers. Smatho, he's definitely in that bracket. But he's sort of the same. I dropped off Clark last week because he was playing at the Dome and he was just wearing a bit thin with me. And then he sort of made me look stupid. I like him better at Adelaide Oval. I think it's going to be very easy for him to be around the ball if he's tagging one of these Adelaide midfielders. So he's back in the good books this week, Clark, and I think he's very easy to play as well.
Yeah, I think you can't go wrong. The Crouch Brothers on DS, they're around the Brad's 15-4, Matt's 14-3. Zach Merritt's 15-2, which is great. And then there's the mid prices. They're all around the 10, 11K. So have a hard time. You got to pick in 1 star, 2 star, and a 10K and 11K guy. So I can't really point you in the right direction for that. Darcy Parish, possibly. He's had a couple of leanish weeks, but you never know. Back at Adelaide, 100-point ceiling is very possible. Okay, let's look at the forwards. And, Eddie Betts, bit of vintage Betts last week, kicking 6 goals and looking at his ownership of the sides, you're thinking, crikey, where these blokes pick this guy? He was only up 2% on Moneyball in the Saturday slate last week. So, but he does get Adam Sard as a matchup this week, so I don't think we'll be able to get a follow-up score from old Eddie. Stengel in his second game, still at min price on Moneyball. It might garner some serious ownership for this particular matchup. Is there anyone else you're looking at there, Hef?
First of all, well done to everyone who played Eddie Betts last week. That was a sharp play in hindsight. Too good for me. I didn't find him. But like you say, it's very hard to play him this week. There's no Gold Coast this time. Stengel's pretty easy to play, but once again, this is a much tougher matchup. He doesn't have a huge ceiling with that forward pocket role he has, but he is the obvious value, I guess. Sean McKernan, I don't mind him at 5,900. You get this little bonus with Sean McKernan that if Zach Clark is really hopeless, that he's going to ruck a whole lot in the second half when Woosha sort of spits the dummy. So just thinking about that with your lineups, you might want to avoid playing him in the same lineup as Clark if you're sort of aiming for that little boost. Langford and Laverty, they've got pretty high ceilings compared to their price. They're a bit up and down, but there are always plays in these sort of tournament situations. And then maybe with Hurley out, Josh Jenkins is the guy to benefit from that. He looked pretty good against Gold Coast, turned up there. I assume Kale Hooker probably goes to Tex Walker, or maybe they use... Is Ambrose injured, or will he come in for Hooker?
Possibly an in, yes. He has been injured, but he could probably be in, yep.
Hooker might end up going to Jenkins, and they put someone else on Tex with him getting up the ground. But, yeah, just they're a little bit softer down back now, Essendon, so Jenko getting out the back, and especially if there's a kill, that's what Jenko loves. I think he's still pretty well priced, and he does have that upside we're looking for.
Yep. I'll tell you what's a good price, and it's going to be a real big tease for everyone this week, is McDonald, Tippin Woody, 8,500 on Draft Stars. We all know his trends. If Essendon are up and about, he's up and about. If they're not, he gets nowhere near it. So think about your game narratives. If you think the Bombers have a great chance, geez, Tippin Woody at 8.5 only needs to get to, 70, 80 points to hit value, and he can get that value on a ceiling game.
He was unreal last week, Tippin Woody, wasn't he?
Oh, what a goal, that last goal. I only just flicked it on the last 2 minutes, and just like you couldn't believe that angle he got and just slots it.
All game, like he just throws out these games every once in a while, and he's very hard to catch. But when he's on, he's on. So can he do it 2 weeks in a row? I'm not so sure.
Yeah, not so sure. But at 8,500, it's a tease. It is an absolute tease. Sneaky time, Hef. I've already highlighted for you, so there's no debate on this one. You just got to say, nod your head and agree with me. Get up on the screen there, Avocado. We're looking at Matt Crouch on your mail about your Essendon one-eye supporter mail, who you might look at being tagged within the mid. Under 105.5. Bet easy put out at $1.88. I originally highlighted over, and then I thought, hang on a second. He hasn't had that ceiling game with his brother been playing. Essendon mid's kind of containing. What do you think under?
Yeah, he's been driving me nuts a bit, Matt Crouch. Like, I don't know whether he's not tackling as much or he's not getting quite as many marks, but it does seem to be a struggle for him to get towards 100. He always gets there or gets pretty close, but it's a big struggle. If he does get attention, this 105, it's all over. There's no chance he's going over if Clark goes to him. So you've got that in your favour.
It's going to be tight. Yeah, it's a good line.
It's pretty on the money.
It's pretty on the money. He's projected to be 104 on our cheat sheets too. So
well, there you go.
There you go. So it's a coin flip, but I'm slightly confident on that particular one. I'm not back in tracking from that. I did backtrack half an hour ago, but now I'm all in on the under. Let's go on the Saturday slate. Big 5-game Saturday slate. A couple of good matchups here and a couple of not so much. So we've got Richmond and Port, Carlton and the Gold Coast in the Fantasy Cup, Giants playing the Collingwood, Brisbane versus North Melbourne, and Freo and Sydney on Saturday night. Both sites have put out a $50,000 GPPs for Moneyball and for Draft Stars. We can go on all night about how Gold Coast is just leaking points everywhere. Again, smashed on the scoreboard, smashed on fantasy points. Adelaide put 1975 points on them last week as a collective effort. But they have Carlton this week, who, yes, they've been season-long fantasy darlings as well. But Hef, you might have a bit of a take here in terms of the old the caretaker coach.
Well, they're a different team, aren't they?
Yes, they are.
They've gone from overcoached, very structured, very what they go 4 years without scoring 100 points or something stupid like that, and now they're rolling, they're up and about. They've knocked off the Swans. They do have quality in that midfield group, which we love getting stuck into Gold Coast with. Last week, I think, proved sometimes you can be a bit guilty of overthinking things. Adelaide versus Gold Coast. We know Adelaide loves just running right over these poorer sides. And this week, you look at those matches on Saturday, Richmond and Port, Giants, Collingwood, Brisbane North. Oh, they're all such stingy teams. And then you get Carlton and the Gold Coast, which is just fantasy goodness. Wow. You've got to have a lot of exposure to this game, put it that way.
Yep. All right. Well, let's.
I want to have a quick rant actually about Stewie Jew. Did you see him all complaining about Stewie Jew because he said about the coaches or laughing at Adelaide coaches?
In his press conference, he had the sooks saying that the old coaches were having a bit of a chuckle late in the game, and he had the sooks.
Yeah, and then we've got to investigate why. What do he mean by that? All he meant was they're so bad at the moment. The other team's laughing at him. He's not having a go at Adelaide. He's saying this is how bad we are. This is disgraceful. He was cut up rough, Stewie Jew, and we've got to turn that into something else in the media these days. But that's all he was getting at. They're so bad, and he's spewing.
He's spewing.
If it wasn't Gold Coast, you'd say they'd come out firing, but they do it every week. I don't see any light at the end of the tunnel.
I'm sure one of the journos picked it up like Tom Brown or something, just saying, "Hey, someone in the coaches spitting chips up in the Gold Coast makes something out of nothing." So yeah, I'm with you there, Hef. Just he's just laughing his blokes that are no good. Speaking of who's not no good though, we've got Brodie Grundy in the rucks here on the Saturday up against possibly old Mummy. Mummy could be back. We also looking at some serious injuries at Port as well. So Brad Ebert's already out. Ollie Wines remains in doubt as well. I saw today even Dixon's got a cold and left the track early, and he's pretty crook. Apparently, after getting smashed by Brisbane in the rain, they're all pretty sick over there. So, and then we've lost your boy, old Niggs. He's gone. He's done his knee after being patched up and sent out, and just decided to give way. So, what are your thoughts on this particular slate of injuries?
Have you ever seen a bloke go out wearing more tape on one particular part of their body, and in the first minute he's blown that knee straight away? What are they doing up there in GWS?
They need skin-coloured tape, not the white stuff. They need the brown stuff, all right?
Well, I don't know what they were thinking playing Canelio, and now they've copped their right whack. Well, we saw Richo get sacked this week.
Yes.
Matho, is he going to be the last coach? Because I reckon there's another one who's in a bit of strife.
Oh, who's that?
I reckon Ken Hinkley.
Oh, really?
What is he doing dropping Dersma? Why are they saying they're dropping him, though? Just say you're resting him. He's been good all year, Dersma. And they bring in this guy last week, Cam Sutcliffe. This is a great one for when these players come into the teams. You've got to get on. Some of the big footy throws up a lot of rubbish. But if you're reading on big footy on the weekend or digging a little bit deeper into the media, you would have heard that Cam Sutcliffe was coming in to tag Lachie Neale in that Brisbane game, and that would have given 53% in the qualifier, Lachie Neale. That would have given you a great edge if you were happy to fade him, knowing the tag was coming.
Yeah.
But there's a reason Cam Sutcliffe got cut from Freo when they were no good, and that's because he's no good. And fancy dumping Dersma to bring this bloke in. He's the future of the club, Dersma, and just say he's rested, even if you did drop him. I don't know how they could drop him. I think he's been hopeless all year, Hinkley. I'm surprised if he's going to last too much longer.
Jeez, just whacking the media, whacking the coaches, selection F's on the warpath at all.
Oh, we need some picks now. Grundy, how's Mumford going to go chasing Brodie Grundy around?
Oh,
we laughed about him chasing Sean McKernan. Grundy could get 30 possessions here against Mumford if he does come in. He's got no chance to go with him.
I think he's
try and kill him.
Elite player of the slate, Grundy. Look, it was 11,300 on Moneyball. What, 17,700 on Draft Stars?
Wow, is that high?
That high. Maybe that's
I
old.
don't.
Maybe that's old data. I have to check. That can't be set. That can't be right. You just talk about Grundy, how good he is, and I'm going to check
All right.
what draft stars is.
Like he's so expensive. He's so expensive. I can't see he's an elite player. I guess at that price, because how high can he go? But Jesus, I just can't see Mumford keeping up with him. We'll have to talk about the other rucks on the slate. Lysett and Steph Martin both disappointed against each other on
Yes.
Sunday.
Yes.
But now Lysett goes up against Richmond. So whether that's Soldo or Nankervis, it doesn't really matter. It's still a great matchup. He was a bit sore going into that Brisbane game. Maybe another week has got him over that a bit more. So I'm happy playing Lysett any time. He's one out in the ruck. And now Steph Martin goes up against Goldie Goldstein up there in Brisbane. Like he's just given up 86 to Zach Clark, so I'm sure Steph Martin can bounce back against him. They're two of my other favourite ruck options on the day.
Yep, he is 17-7, Grundy. So you have to make a decision there. It's either 150 or nothing for Grundy. Look, no qualms playing any other rucks on draft stars. There's a lot of 12K, 11K guys. If you want to look at bounce backs, Lysett, 13-1 is probably a particularly good play. But yeah, I'll be concentrating on Grundy and see if I can find some value everywhere else. So let's find that value. Let's look at backs. So on Moneyball, we still got the Eggman at 3.5K. I reckon he's still got that 60, 70 point upside because the ball didn't really go around his area last week. But Hef, I've got a bit of a screen grab here, and if I get the avocado to click those buttons and bring it up, it's on the cheat sheets on the side there. Backs versus Collingwood is now +7. It's the worst in the competition. Sure, we can look at some GWS stacks where we've lost a couple of mids for injuries. Surely there's some next man up kind of plays that we can look at.
Yeah, that's a good spot, Smatho. The problem with GWS backs is I can never catch them when they go high enough. Zach Williams is obviously a guy who can have 120, and all these other guys have been pretty disappointing this year. He sure is just the bottom's totally dropped out of him. Nick Haynes, he used to flash that 100-point upside, but he just hasn't shown it for a long time. Perryman is a guy we've been playing a heap of on Moneyball lately because you can play him as a back, and he's been playing through the midfield.
Yep.
There's no reason he's not going to stay through the midfield now with Cornelio injured as well. So I really like him as a back on Moneyball. Him and Williams would be my favourites. I do find it hard to nail these GWS backs, though. Heath Shaw, I've lost a lot of money on Heath Shaw trying to chase these matchups.
Yep.
Looking at backs, Freo give up a ton of points to backs. And I did see a stat during the week that Jake Lloyd scores much better away from the SCG than he does at home. So he makes a fair bit of sense there. 9,600, plenty of room over there at Optus Stadium running around the joint. He'd be my favourite option if I want to spend up in my back line.
Yep. He's 14,840 on draft stars. Wonderful price.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, that's a value of 7.9. He's up there in the value play. So probably garner some ownership if we don't go the Brodie Grundy route. So just keep an eye on that. But you're spot on, Hef. There's plenty of space at Optus. He's just going to get 6-pointers all day long. Let's look on to the mids for the Saturday slate. And as every Monday, I get on the DFR website and read Candace's biases articles. And look, sometimes they're a bit of a hard read, but then I go, it's Carlton versus Collingwood. Carlton versus Gold Coast. And I don't want bias to play in here, but these are the two worst scoring teams in the comp. I'm torn. Do we believe in Carlton turning the corner and being stingy, or just go all in on this particular game for the mids in this matchup?
Well, there's one guy who's 9,200. He's just come back from injury, Paddy Cripps. Could we get a better spot than this? We love targeting that real inside mid. Brad Crouch got him last week, Gold Coast. You only have to look early in the year. He had 163 against the Gold Coast. He's going to be popular, but he seems as safe a play as there is Cripps. What have we got him on Draft Stars? 9,200 is unbelievable price on Moneyball.
Cripps on Draft Stars is 15.2.
That's such an easy play.
Yeah.
We've talked about these great matchups, the rising tide, and trying to find those second tier guys that benefit. And I think that's well the case here with Carlton. Guys like a Will Setterfield or something that's just going to benefit from Carlton dominating the ball. Like, if you expect that's going to happen, I see no reason why it won't. Mark Murphy, Sam Walsh, they're all in play, these Carlton guys.
Yep. Ed Kerno's 13-2, Zach Fisher 9-1.
Fisher's definitely a good one.
Yeah, they're all got fantastic value on the cheat sheet here. So
last week, the key last Saturday was Rory Atkins.
Yes.
He was the under-owned guy in that Adelaide midfield who got 120 odd at 12K. And you notice the teams that went well, a lot of them had Atkins. So if you can find that guy, maybe it is Zach Fisher. Maybe it is Mark Murphy, because everyone's going to be drawn to Cripps. Play Cripps and then maybe diversify a little bit with another of your midfielders.
All right. What about Giants mids now? And there's no Kelly, there's no Niggs. Whitfield's around, but he can't do it all himself.
Yeah, so I do have a good play, but he's in the forwards, so I might save him for the forwards.
All right, fair enough.
We talked about Perryman; he's getting more midfield time. Taranto is obviously the main guy in the middle.
He's too expensive. He's 16.9 draft.
Wow, that is high. But, there's a guy we can target in the forward line for them. Maybe don't snooze totally on Gold Coast back the other way against Carlton. Will Brodie is just a weird story. They brought him back in last week and played him up forward. He had about 2 centre bounces the whole game, which makes no sense at all because he's one of those one-dimensional inside midfielders. 6,700. If he plays up forward, he's going to kill your lineup. If he goes into the middle and plays where he belongs, there's no reason he can't turn up. We saw that 140 a few weeks ago. So he's a risky play, but he's got definite upside. And everyone's favourite cheapie in the midfield at the moment is James Rowbottom. He's still getting those centre bounces. It's still 4,500 on Moneyball. That's too cheap still. Yeah. And speaking of cheap, Johnny Noble, 3,500. I thought he looked pretty good against West Coast. What did you think?
Yeah, you can't miss him with his little blonde hair. So if you're ever trying to follow your players when you've got a side 10, you can't miss him. A little skinny blonde-headed bloke. It's like, oh, yeah.
That's important too if you're just putting a couple of teams in. You want to know where your players are.
Yeah.
I'm sick of playing Mick Healy and seeing Aaron Francis get the ball and thinking I'm just getting another pick and then it shows up. But Noble 3,500. If you need to go cheap to play Grundy, I think he's definitely a very good play at that price.
Excellent. All right, let's move on to the forwards here on the Saturday slate. And again, on the cheat sheet, it's been my go-to resource for the last couple of days. And there's a lot of green in the value on this particular cheat sheet. So it usually means that these players are going to be a bit chalky because everyone will see this particular value from their salaries on Moneyball. Shai Bolton. Man, I didn't rate it his second game, but he made a mockery of me. Another ton up there. Is it like a positional change or something? Is this something I've missed, Hef? Because he's going to be very popular again this week.
Yeah, if you didn't see what happened in that game against Gold Coast, you would have been surprised by his ownership last week because, wow, he played the Gold Coast, he got a ton. Like, who cares? We didn't go hoeing into Castagna at all, did we?
No.
But he attended about 20 centre bounces, and he's had this clear role change now to go into the middle for Richmond. It was 11 or 12 on the weekend, another ton. There's no reason he's going to move away from that role. He's obviously doing a great job there. So he's still underpriced with that role. I don't think it's two flukes by any stretch. Port is a pretty hard team to score against on their day, but that role is just everything. And, he's got to be one of the top players again here, Bolton.
He's 10,200 on DraftStar, so he won't garner that particular ownership, but he's still being projected at 89 points. So
I'm still happy to go with him.
Still happy for the value, but we won't see stupid ownership on DraftStar's end. Rightio, my sneaky time.
Oh, you've missed my...
Oh, sorry, mate. Sorry, look, I'll keep my sneaky back in the sneaky back pocket. All right, who else are you looking at apart from Shai Bolton?
It's obvious to most people, but I just want on the record, Toby Green.
Yeah.
Went into the midfield when Cornelio went down. Keep an eye on the team lineups. They're going to have to bring players in. If they bring in a couple of midfielders, then maybe he won't get that role again. But if they go a little bit light on the midfield and it looks like Green's going to be the man going in there, you just got to play him because he's a total pig when he's in the middle, and his upside is as good as anyone in the comp. So, yeah, keep an eye on that team news. But if Toby Green plays in the middle and you don't have him, you're going to be in a lot of trouble.
Yep. 144 last week, 13K on Draft Stars. Yep. Looks pretty good if your mail is correct.
I'll give you one sneaky.
Yeah.
Sean Lemons.
What? What's he going to do?
Sean Lemons. He's cheap. Yeah. I noticed him getting a bit of time in the centre square last week.
All right.
He's my little cheap, sneaky, low ownership guy for the weekend.
Jeez, I've got to find him first. Where is he? He forward for Lemons. 6,800 at 65 point last week. Okay.
Yeah, he's about four something on Moneyball. That's a left fielder.
Left fielder. All right. You've got some mail here that I have to put in my pocket and bring it up next week. Well, I might think the old.
He's impressed me, Levens. He's got pace and he has a go, and you can't say that about too many of these Gold Coast fellas. And if they're going to put him on the ball and tell these other blokes just to clear off, like they gave Riscatelli 10 centre bounces last week, so there's obviously plenty to go around. He might be a guy to capitalise.
Yeah, but it was plenty of goals last week. They had to have all these centre bounce clearances. So
that's true. That is true.
All right, let's get the sick man up here and get him to put my little Saturday sneaky bet. And this is the most fantasy points on BetEasy in Group A. I've already highlighted my selection, which is Patrick Cripps at $7. If you want to agree with me, you can, or you can make a case against that, and we might go head-to-head on this one as well.
It's no fun if we agree. He's a great spot, Cripps. This might be chasing points, but how do you go past Josh Dunkley?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
I'll have Dunkley, you have Cripps, and I'll flick you $1 to make up for the difference.
All right, head-to-head. Head-to-head.
Oh, and we can have Grundy as well. Jeez, that's a hard group to sort out.
Well, that's why it's called Group A. You know, these are the elite guys. This is just no Brody Grundy, Josh Dunkley, and Sean Lemons. No, this is the blokes that get the most points. But I'm my man, Patrick Cripps at $7. Couple of sneaky.
Hashtag head wobble from you tonight.
Head wobble next week if that gets up. All right, Hef, let's move on to Sunday slate so we can wrap up the show. There's 3 games up. Geelong versus Hawthorn in one of those classic matchups that they have every year. Melbourne versus your boys at West Coast. And the qualifier for Sunday's ticket is St Kilda versus the Bulldogs. Hef, we might just touch base on that third matchup, which is St Kilda and the Western Bulldogs. If you've got any other little takes in there, sneak them in as well. But there's golden tickets available on that Sunday afternoon, and it was usually a really popular game to get involved with.
Yeah, it is. There's one thing you should have already done on this St Kilda Bulldogs game, Smatho. Have you done it?
Yes, I have done it. And what should we already done? You need to remind me.
First of all, you need to buy your Powerball.
There's a new coach there. That's right.
If we win Powerball, are we going to be back here next week?
Oh, the 3 ball? No, yes, we'll be back next week.
No, Powerball.
Oh, Powerball.
Or about the 3 ball. What about Powerball, 110 mil. I'll be back on the show next week, even if I win the 110 mil. How's that for commitment?
All right, fair enough. But
what
should I know, by the way? What should I know?
Well, there's a new coach.
Yes, and the Bulldogs tend to play teams that have got new coaches.
Yeah, well, what happened when the Kangas got the new coach?
Yeah, they killed the Bulldog.
Carlton got a new coach.
Yep.
It's an auto bet. As soon as you hear new coach, get on straight because the price will come in even if it doesn't win you. You got to get on straight away as soon as you hear that coach. Yep. And especially Richo because he's been playing a shocking brand of football. And now they got Ratton, who your mob got rid of, and one of the worst decisions I've made in 10 years in an all-star field of bad decisions. I think all the data points to the Bulldogs here against St Kilda, especially the backs. You love this St Kilda backs. St Kilda are giving up points to the backs, but this new change of coach, let's see if they play a bit freer, St Kilda. It might be, if you want to go contrarian, there's reason that it might be different to the stats. Put it that way.
Fair enough. I want to talk about Rowan Marshall because I've gone the brave decision this week in our Ultimate Footy League, and I've whacked the captain on him. Is that ballsy or what?
Oh yeah, you're a real thrill seeker, Smatho. What's his floor? About 100? He's up against English, obviously.
Yeah.
Like, what's his floor? 120.
Yeah.
What did you think of the coaches' votes? Geelong versus St Kilda. Did you watch Geelong St Kilda last week?
No, I didn't. Sorry, unfortunately not. No.
Well, Rowan Marshall was awesome.
Yeah.
Did not get a vote.
Didn't he?
So maybe that's why they got rid of Richo, because they thought, what's going on here? Like, Luke Dunstan got votes, and Chris Scott. Another reason to not like Chris Scott, except for all the late withdrawals, he gave Jed Buse a vote. Like, Marshall couldn't get a vote, and he was just a behemoth in there. Yeah, well, throw the captain on him. Like, it's just dynamite, Rowan Marshall.
If we throw the captain on him, obviously I'll put the mockers on him. Is there anyone else in the rucks you want to quickly talk about?
I could play Big Boy against Reece Stanley.
Yeah,
he's actually a couple of $1,000 cheaper on Moneyball. So if you are looking for cash, or you want to get away from Smatho's captain's curse with Marshall, Big Boy's a chance. In the backs, Geelong backs and Bulldogs backs, they seem to have great matchups there. And a little sneaky Taylor Duray was huge last week. I don't have any great confidence in him backing that up. But if you do want to load the Dogs backs against Saints, I'm sure you'll be doing that, Smatho. You can play Taylor Duray as a forward on Moneyball. So there's another back you can get in the lineup.
Excellent, Hef. All right. Thank you for your contributions here tonight for those massive 3 days of AFL footy this weekend. We're going to wrap things up here so I can get onto the Windrush website and check out Royal Port Rush's weather 18 hours before the event. I might get some of the webcams out and have a look as well.
Let's leave that for
mate, this is my golden chance of getting a golden ticket. So I'm actually doing some proper tilt research that's going to kill me by Friday morning. Mate, thanks for joining us on the show this week. Big round of AFL. Look, we've lost the cricket, and we won't go into that.
Get on to the cricket.
No. Anyway.
We didn't pull out the New Zealand top tonight. That says it all.
No, I should get my lawyer's wig out, and I'll get the rule book out. And
that's enough for tonight.
Yeah, thanks very much. Looking forward to seeing on the leaderboards. And if there's any questions or queries at all, hit us up on our Twitter handles at Smatho10, at TM Heffernan. Hef's putting out some lovely racing tweets at the moment, so get onto those as well if you're into your Devonport form. We'll catch you next Wednesday for another bumper edition of the DFS Down Under show. We'll catch you next week. See you later.